Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Jessica Abernathy, and with me today is Tricia Montgomery, and you are listening to Pets Are Family.
Hey,
All right.
Jessica.
Hi.
Hi. It's summer here. I've got landscapers in the background, so hopefully.
Mine are due, but I just don't know what time, so they might show up.
Oh my gosh, how are you?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Ready for this? Because we all know that I'm in Chicago. It was 94 here yesterday. We hit records.
Whoa.
Well, I
We
work
didn't even
inside.
reach that yesterday. That's
94.
crazy.
Uh-huh. Little birdie was like, kept going outside, and I'm like, dude, it's too hot. I'm like, it's too hot.
I just want to lay in the sunshine.
Oh yeah, then he'd go out there and he'd be like, and then he would come in and he'd be like, and then he'd be like, I want to go outside. And we have a little button for him to push so he lets us know when he goes outside, and it says outside, outside, outside. I finally picked it up and put it on the calendar, on the counter, because I was
So
like,
he pushes that button. You taught him to push that button?
mm-hmm.
Stop it.
Yeah, so it sits by the back door. So when he has to go to the bathroom, he pushes the button. So you'll hear outside, and you literally better get moving, because if he really has to go, he's got to go. He pushes the button. But if he wants to go lay out in the sun or something, like in the middle of the day, he'll push the button. He'll get outside. But he's funny, because if he really wants to go, I'll videotape it one day and put it on. But he'll stand on it and he'll sit there, outside, 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 outside. And then you come around the corner, he's just like this with his foot on the button, like, I told you, I'm ready. And he's like one of those, like, I love Angela, but he's like, I got the perfect one, because I like those little, like, I like hippo dogs, you know that? But yeah. He's like tiny. He really is. He's tiny, and he's like, ooh. So he's sitting on that button like, ooh.
Oh my God. I don't know what happened to Frank, but he'll sit there and he'll go, but he loves just sitting outside in the sunshine. Totally just loves laying out there. And he comes back in and he's like, but then he wants to get into the water and go into the pool as well. So,
yeah. I think I have one of the, my Frenchie doesn't have that trigger. He does not like water at all.
Probably because you haven't been around it. I bet if you were around water, he would be a water baby.
No,
but you're not around water.
I got him a pool. I got him a huge pool. No, put it in there when he was a puppy. He hated it from the get-go.
Oh, see, that's where Frank loved it. And I got that baby pool for him, and he ran in circles and circles and circles, and then he'd get dizzy and he'd be like,
I had a baby pool for him, and then I got a bigger pool so I could sit in it with him. You know what I mean? So that way, we could fill it up. So it could get up to, like, if I sat down, I would go up to my throat. I mean, it's a decent side. Nope. You know what I mean? He only likes, like, if you get the splash pads, he likes the splash pads because he likes to jump in it, but that's it. Yeah. Anything beyond, and you have to be next to him. We have sprinklers going because I'm redoing all my hostas. And he hates that. He hates, you know what I mean? He's not a water dog. He's just not.
Oh, Frank is. He's totally a water dog. And even like puddles, he wants to jump in the puddles, and then he wants to just jump back through the puddles, and then just water. Now he's running. I sent you that video. He's running and jumping and like going around the pool. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. So yeah, but I love water too. And I think it's also, if I could be a mermaid, I would be a mermaid. That's my next life, is I'm going to be a mermaid. I don't care about the fins. I don't care that, that the fins don't go with everything for outfits. I'd be upper body the entire way. And I think it'd be really cool. So my next life, guys, I am coming back as a mermaid.
I would be a mermaid only if I could date Jason Momoa. That guy is like 100% something I would date. Totally. I'm like, yes. I mean, yeah.
I can do that. I got him first because I'm the mermaid first. You don't even so I got him first.
I grew up around water. I mean, when I was a kid, we were either on a boat, because my dad, we had Hobie cats. We would always be on a boat, or we were at the racetrack. One of the two. We were somewhere, Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Leroy, good old Leroy. Hi, Dad. Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Leroy. So I want to talk about something, because right now my landscapers are out there, guys. Sorry about that.
I could hear
Um,
up that.
yeah, so we are warm all around. Like you had 94 degrees yesterday. We have warmth all the time. And I think that we want to talk about, the weather approaching us right now because we're nearing those summer days and it's going to start getting hot. And, you and I talked about this from a standpoint of vaccinations, those yearly vaccinations and the things that are going to be coming up soon. And then, what we need to do. And then also I booked Frank for neuter appointment. It's going to get those, won't be needing those anymore. Yep.
Yeah, we're a little different on
Yep.
that one, you and I are,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the good part about being pet parents, you know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with, you waited a year, which is good. I mean, that
Yeah.
gave him time. I'm a firm believer, all right, at least wait a year. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
like to wait till closer to 2, but I don't
Mhm.
have the problems you're having. So
I don't. Frank is a humper. He likes to hump all the time. And I'm like, this is not, I love you, but no, we're not going there today. Thank you so much. And then we have a lot of people coming over to the house too. And I think that has something to do with it too. And so you just, and I think it's going to help greatly. And plus, also when you think about cancer and you think about the issues related to not spaying or neutering your pet, the things that can happen. And so I feel very comfortable doing that. But you told me something that I didn't know about the deviated septum. So talk a little bit about that, Jessica.
So I'm a weirdo. I have and everybody thinks I'm funny about it, but I have a love for, first of all, I have a love for black animals because they're hard to adopt out. For some reason I think they're the cutest, and everybody just doesn't want them. And I don't know why, because, Teddy was
Yeah.
all black. Brutus is all black. You know what I mean? I've got Harry, who's all black, except for he's got a little white tip on his tail and he's got a little bit of white on one of his paws, but he's all black. And we adopted him too. But I have a thing for Smush-Faced. And Smush-Faced animals have to be, they're a little different. They have to be treated differently. You have to be very more conscientious about when you're putting them under anesthesia. Teddy had problems going under anesthesia, so you have to be like mindful and try to combine surgeries because it's not as easy for them to go under or to come out, and it's not as healthy for them. So with Brutus, they have, with the smushness, they have a hard time breathing. So you can do basically, like for us, they can have like a sinus surgery. They can have like a deviated system, like they can go in and open up their sinuses. So my vet, when I'm having him snipped, you know what I mean? She's also going to have him have his deviated system. He's going to get a sinus surgery, even though his sinuses are great. They're not a problem. But as he gets older, it can collapse and it could cause him to have a hard time breathing. I did the same thing for Teddy when we put him under for his neuter. I had his done at the same time too, and he never had a breathing issue ever. Some people don't agree with that because they're like, it's too much surgery. But Teddy, to give you an example, Teddy could not handle pain meds at all. I mean, he was so sensitive to medication that it was the best thing I could do for him. And with Brutus, my vet and I had a talk with it. She's like, it is so dangerous to have that type of animal under so much anesthesia that she's like, I don't want to put him under twice. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a conversation. I'm not making it. I can. I am a type of a pet parent that can take my emotions out, and you know that about me
Hmm.
because I can be very emotional when it comes to my pets. But I can take the emotion out and say, I have to be. I have to be in the right frame of mind for his health, and it's not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So I have to be his advocate and take my emotions out. What is the best for him?
Hmm.
And what,
Hmm.
it's not about me, it's about him. How can I make it as easy as possible for him and make it as less invasive? I know it's two items, both ends of him are going to be sore, but he won't have to have another surgery later on.
Right, right, right. And to that end, I actually sent a message to my veterinarian and having a conversation with her about that. So I want to make sure if I need to do that, then I'm going to do that as well. So yeah, I think it's important. I think it's really important. And the thing is, for as long as I've been in the profession, I don't know a lot about smoosh-faced dogs and or French bulldogs. And yes. I mean, you give me another dog, and I can know it all day long. Pit bulls, yes, not
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, so it's really interesting. Also, so he's scheduled. So June 2nd, going to be heading in there
Yeah, we're
and
talking
and
about
con
doing it. We're going to do it in the winter time where it'll be this winter. It's not going to be during the summer for us. We already decided that.
Well, contrary to popular belief, spaying and neutering your dog, neutering does not cause them to wear a tutu. It does not cause them to be less of a man dog.
Nope.
It's just from a health perspective. So I think that's important to know, because a lot of people have those misconceptions of spaying and neutering dog, especially with male dogs, that they're not going to be their normal, self. They are. It's actually going to be a better version of the pup, in my opinion.
And, to take this a little further, and we had something else we got to talk about, but I think we can table that for next week almost, because this is such a good topic actually to think about. Because we went out like on Sundays, we still do it. We try to take him out and socialize, Brutus, you know what I mean? We work from home. So, the separation anxiety, I mean, my dog has got separation issues, and I work in this industry, and I'm always teaching people how not to let your dog get separation anxiety.
And we've got it.
My dog has it. I can't help it. You know what I mean? So every weekend we try to go to like a brewery, so we can go, and we can sit there and he can go run around and meet other dogs, and stuff like that, and go to dog parks and stuff. And we were sitting there talking to friends of ours that her parents have a dog, our age, have a dog, but they don't. Well, there's one brewery that has an open play night for your dogs, which I think is great. They have a huge fenced in yard. They have great beer. You know what I mean? It's called Wolf Den. Is it Wolf Den? Yeah, it's Wolf Den. I'm going to have to put it in there. I got to give them a shout out, right? So they have this great little place, right? And I was like, oh, that's so much fun. And they were like, oh, you should bring Brutus here. Well, okay, Brutus is a French bulldog. And I know people are like, it's just a Frenchie, but they are a bully breed. You know what I mean? Even though he's little, his mouth is quite mighty. I mean, it is mighty. No matter what you say, he is considered a bully breed, even though he's cute as a little button, but he has his nuts. I'm just going to put it that way. He's got his nuts. And what people don't realize is that when a dog is intact, that is the proper way of putting it. You know what I mean? But when a male dog is intact and he is over 9 months, even over 6 months, but over 9 months old, they exude this smell, and it's basically a testosterone smell. And if you have a dog that has been neutered and does not have his nuts or is not intact, a better way to put it, they are threatened. And when if got a dog park or something like that, it causes fights. And that's what people don't realize. So me taking my little guy who loves to play, and he just gets so excited, that doesn't understand, he's going to play his hardest, and all these other male dogs are going to find him a threat. And it is me setting him up for failure. And a lot of people don't realize that. So I'm just sharing this to all those pet parents that do listen to us. If you go to the dog park with your intact dog and all of a sudden he's getting picked on and eaten up by all the other male dogs, it's because they don't have nuts, and they're pissed off because he has his nuts.
Well, in some parks, in some areas, they won't even allow you to take them if they have not been neutered. And, I remember even taking Frank to Pet Paradise, just for like a day of play. So he does get that. They separated him, and they would only let him play with them, as opposed to, and he was inside like his little area almost the entire day, as opposed to playing with the other dogs. And then whenever I noted that, they're like, oh yeah, well, he's neutered. He can't play with the other dogs. So, that there's requirements that facilities and parks require. If they're not spayed or neutered, they've got to be, in some instances, to allow them to go into those places.
I had a daycare in Chicago, and you know that. That's how we met.
Yep.
Many moons ago, but that's how you and I met. It was over 10 years ago now. But
Yeah.
that's how you and met. And I would take intact dogs up to 6 months. After that, I wouldn't take them.
Yeah, you couldn't get, yeah, correct. That was Frank too. So up to 6 months. But now, honestly, when
I don't
he,
think now I wouldn't. I wouldn't do
oh,
it.
you wouldn't
Now
really?
I wouldn't. No, because it's just such a liability, and I
Oh yeah,
wouldn't do
for
it.
sure.
It's such
Absolutely,
a
for sure.
liability now.
But I will begin taking Franken at least 1 to 2 times a week, just to get more interaction. Because like you said, I'm here all the time. I'm in my
Yeah.
office all the time.
I
And
yeah, I
go
think I
ahead.
will once I get him neutered, but I'm looking at next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's well, hello, whoever that is. Hi. You know,
Hi.
that's the real loss right there. You know what I mean? Leave it in there.
Yeah.
Leave it in, Anna. Just leave it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave it
Leave
in.
it in,
We're
Anna.
we're busy. We're
Yep.
busy.
But no, I
Carving
think
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's a good point because a lot of people don't realize it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are, like you said, it doesn't make them less of a man dog. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yep.
just, and that's the reason why they get beat up. You know what I mean? Because where I used to live, we had a dog park right down the street. When I say right down the street, it took Teddy and I like 4 houses to go down there. And anytime I was going over to a friend's house and I could bring Teddy, I would go down to the dog park because there was something about that dog park that Teddy would go over there and he'd poop like 4 times and it was all out of him. So I was like, it was
Oh my
perfect.
God.
But you know, I mean, every time I went, there was a guy that had this pincher, a Doberman pincher, and I was just like, all right, but he was intact. You know what I mean? And every time he'd come in, there would always be a fight, and
Yeah.
nobody understood why. And I finally was like, I just like stood in the middle, and I'm like, yo, dummies, this is why this happens every time. And they were like,
And people
oh,
don't know that. And I also think it's really interesting if you really observe patterns in behavior at dog parks, what it looks like and what it actually means. It could be, people are like, oh, they're just playing. No, they're
nope,
not just playing. No, they're not. So I think there are all kinds of things, but it is important to have that socialization, and especially when you are working remote. And I think starting them out young and then continuing that on is so vital for socialization, for being around other dogs. Even though, I mean, Frank's around other dogs here, I make sure that when we're walking like 2 or 3 times a day, that we're meeting up with other dogs on the street. We're having that bit of interaction, that playtime. Frank will be submissive though. He'll get down. There's a large dog, Buddy, and Buddy's like very old and a senior dog, but one of those kind of like not like a menacing dog, but from a standpoint of Frank will be very submissive. He'll just go into like a play bow and then go immediately onto the ground and just go, okay, I'm here, go ahead.
yeah. And that brings up another, you know what I mean, since we're talking about it, but that's another thing that a lot of owners don't understand is leash aggression,
Absolutely.
and leash aggression is basically they're protecting the person holding the leash.
Mm-hmm.
And it travels up the leash. So the person holding that leash is the one triggering it. So who's holding that leash?
It's up and down the leash. We talked about, I mean, that was a big thing. It's a big component because people don't even think about that from a standpoint, that my emotions, what I'm feeling, my fear, my anxiety, that's traveling down that leash. And, I'm glad you brought that up. That's so important to talk about because I don't think people even realize that,
No.
our field transcends all the way down. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think
Just
people
crazy.
understand what leash aggression is. I mean, like if your dog is trying to eat something or someone or is angry or is, I mean, his whole personality is not his norm, that is leash aggression. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If he is not his normal happy Joe lucky go getting personality, it's leash aggression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for every dog trainer out there, forgive me if I'm not explaining that right, but you know what I mean? It's the human term for me. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I've walked dogs for the last 25 years. You know what I mean? And I mean, the leash aggression is insane, and it's just getting worse, I think. I mean, separation anxiety in dogs, the leash aggression in dogs. It's
But
getting
why
worse.
why is that? Why is it getting worse? That's the root of the problem. Why is it getting worse? Not the leash aggression, but why?
Well, because half of the world has been working from home for the last 5 years, and it's not. And we've changed our motto. I mean, we're not going back into the offices. We've learned how to work from home. You know what I mean? And we like that. So we're home all the time. That's hard. You know what I mean? So they're used to having a human around 24/7. You know,
Right. Yeah, that's true.
it is. I mean, we're home all the time, but he's downstairs. There's nobody down there. You know what I mean? So he could be separated, but he also knows there's somebody here.
Right.
There's a big
I get it.
difference.
It
You
is.
know?
It is.
And a leash aggression is that whole up and down. You know what I mean? It's that up and down problem. You know?
Yeah.
It's but
Now,
there's
Jessica,
go.
when you leave the house, do you say to Brutus, "Hey, I'll be right back in a half an hour"?
No, because he
I
doesn't understand that.
I do that to Frank all the time. I'm like, "Listen, I'm going to Pilates. I'll be back at 10:15." And I know that he knows what I'm talking about because I'm like, I'm going to Pilates. And so he'll, kind of wave me off. He'll say goodbye to me. But I talk to Frank all the time. And I think dialogue. So speaking of walking and being on a leash, dialogue, I have a conversation with Frank as I'm walking him because I want him to hear my voice. I want him to go, I want him to be able to know at least there's a voice there. Does that make sense to you? And I think that's important. So I'm like, look, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful it is outside. Oh my gosh, somebody left the tree in the middle of the road. She parked her car somewhere else today. So it's like little things that I think that he understands. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I think what he hears is rah, 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 car, rah, 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 bicycle, rah, 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 treat, rah, 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 food, rah, 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 dinner. You know what I mean?
It's almost like the Charlie Brown episode, like,
You know what? I have to tell you this just because. So Tricia knows that I used to work for the airlines for years, right? And I traveled all the time. And I'm from the East Coast. So the Newark airport, I have not been in it in a long time. I avoid it like the plague for some reason.
Yeah. Now,
right?
I mean, now that like planes are dropping out of the skies and they're losing communication, I wouldn't be at Newark airport if you paid me to.
I'm just saying, right? So I'm laughing because when I was flying in and out of there, the announcer, I'm not kidding you, it sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher would be like, and I was like, who? Like, whoever it is, you don't worry, they ain't getting there. You know what I mean? It just always sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. I mean,
oh my
hopefully
gosh.
they fixed it, but I mean, so when you said that, I just had it there.
Oh my gosh.
That's a flashback from my past. Oh, all right, but yeah, I swear that's what Frank hears. Food, bicycle, pool. Oh, I'm paying attention now.
I'm gonna get him to where like he's gonna trailing beside me as I'm riding my bicycle. I'm gonna start doing that because I think he'd love it.
Well, you and I have conversations about this, and these guys don't realize this, but we have conversations. Remember, you over-exercise your dog. You're going to kill him. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yes.
He's used to it. Honestly, he's used to it now.
No, you're going to hurt him. He's going to have problems when he gets older. That's what I keep telling you. He's a puppy right now. You're going to have problems when he gets older. That's why I keep telling him you are over-exercising him. Well, there is a possibility. So you've got to tone that down. Just a little. You can over-exercise you. Yeah.
I need a Weimaraner or a Greyhound.
You can over-exercise your dogs, people. Just so you know that. You have to look at your breeds.
Remember when he was a puppy and his little legs were trying to keep up with me? I'm like, come on, let's go for a walk.
You can, folks, and we'll have an episode on this too. You can over-exercise your animals.
You can. I'm going to attest to that. You can for sure. You can.
Yeah, you have to look at your breed.
That'll be one of our next episodes.
Yeah, you got to look at the breed of dog you have. That's another thing I actually was looking at. I just wrote a blog. I actually got to post it, and it's so timely. I just wrote a blog for Pets or Family on on how to pick the right dog for your family. So that's perfect, because you can over exercise your dog, and it's not so much that he is used to it. That's true. It's later in life he's going to probably need new knees, new hips, and all that stuff.
Well, today he went flying. We were playing with his Lammy, and then I tossed it, and then he jumped on the couch, and then I have a kind of a square coffee table. He hit the corner of the square, and he's got like a little hematoma on him. I know. So I'm like, we're not going to roughhouse anymore, because we did the roughhouse, play.
We do too, but yeah, I have a rule. You know what I mean? Once we start doing that kind of stuff, it's done. I pull, and he just looks at me, goes, "Okay, all right, sorry." Then we tone it down. But yeah. Well, we'll look at that. So now I know that we have to have a conversation on picking the right dogs. You know what I mean? We have to have those. Over exercising. So we got a couple topics to talk about.
Just and next time we want to talk about things to avoid, because I'm going to bring up the oyster plant that was in the yard. And then that's poisonous. Yeah,
because
so
I'm working in the yard. Yeah, we want to make sure that you plant the right things, so that way your dog doesn't eat the wrong things, or your cat, because we have a lot of cats.
Or things to recognize that you may not know that, because they're just there already when you come into the house, and it's like, oh, that's a pretty plant. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's poisonous. So things that you should know.
Your friends give you plants. I mean, like, I've had people give us plants. Like people give you plants, and you're like, oh, it's so pretty. And then all of a sudden you're like, your cat's like puking all over the place, and you're like, what's going on?
I love that plant. That's fake. I can put like lights on it and everything, but it's my favorite plant because it never dies, and it always looks the same. It's always beautiful. It's always blooming.
I got a money tree plant from somebody, and it's fake. And I thought that was great because it can't die. I thought it was like, oh, that's the best money tree you can get.
Hello. Hey, Jessica, so we've got a couple things coming up here. Yep. June the 19th, June 21st, we're going to be doing The Weight They Carry. We're going to be doing a virtual screening of that. And that's the film from Grace Galetti that deals with veterinary mental health and awareness of this. Dr. Katie Lawler, Dr. Kathy Gervais, Colleen Rowland. You're going to be on it as well. Then I'm going to be moderating, but it's a really beautiful short documentary film on veterinary mental health and awareness. And we're really excited about that and honored to be part of that. Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement are going to be one of our partners in co-sponsoring that for us. So it's going to be June the 19th and the 21st. You can go to Pets or Family website and sign up for that. 1,000 seats open for each one. They're filling up fast, though. I will tell you that. It's filling up fast and furious.
I want to say this really quickly. And if you as a pet parent don't think it's really important for you to go, I think it is, because as a pet parent, you need to see the back end of it, because all you do is see the front, and you see the whole, isn't he cute? Oh, he's so lovely. You need to see what goes on in the back end.
You must.
So that way, you need to see what's going on in the back, and why it's hard for you to get an appointment, why Sarah's not there anymore, why there's turnover, why the office closed, why is it getting bought up by this, why, you know what I mean? So you can see the whys. And so as a pet parent, I think it's just as important that you watch it as the veterinarians and the techs and all the other people that are seeing this and want you to be aware of what's going on. It's just as important for you to see it as it is for that industry.
Yeah, and that's where we're co-sponsoring it, and that's why we thought it was important to bring it to our audience, not just tailored to the veterinary profession, because as pet parents, you need to know this stuff. So, Jessica, it has been a delightful conversation with you today. I love talking to you, and we just cover so many topics. I'm going to water my fake tree, and I will not get Frank in the pool or over-exercise him, at least until tomorrow.
That's good. We're going to go for a walk today, too, so... I got lost. I just tell you this. I got lost on our walk the other day, and we didn't make it home for almost an hour. I got lost in my own neighborhood.
How could you get lost in your own neighborhood?
Because there's so many side streets. I was talking on the phone. I got lost.
Stop it.
I was giggling. I thought of you. I was like, oh, Tricia, kill me, because I'm always giving you a hard time.
I'm going to finish it up with a quick story here. So my dad had early Alzheimer's and early dementia on top of the cancer that he had. And I had gone down there with Zeus and my daughter, Gabrielle. And my dad had decided to take a walk on his own. And I said, just take Zeus with you. Just take Zeus with you. Because Zeus would walk, kind of stability. My dad and Zeus arrived about an hour and a half later, and my dad had literally tears just streaming down his face. He got lost, and Zeus helped him find his way home.
Oh,
If it wouldn't have been for Zeus, my dad, I'm sure, of course, there were times that, that people found him, but just kind of didn't know where he was. But Zeus helped him find his way home. And, that's the love for our dogs, and the dogs know where to take us, know where to find us, and, and just that beauty. So memory lane. Anyway,
no, there you go. We ended it on a sweet note, guys. So anyway, sign up for the movie screening. Ask your questions.
Absolutely.
Like, love us. You know what I mean? And share us with your friends. Yep. Oh, wait, I can't do that. Wait, there you go. All right.
Love
Talk
you
to
guys
later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Pets Are Family. You can find us on all the channels now. Yes, all the channels now. So make sure you share us with your friends, your families, and your coworkers, and anybody that has a pet. Make sure you like us, give us your feedback, tell us if anything that you want us to talk about, all that fun stuff. You can reach me at Jessica at petsourfamily.net or Tricia at petsourfamily.net. Thank you for everything that you guys do, but make sure you like us, subscribe, check us out on YouTube. You can always see what we're up to. And we want to thank all of our sponsors, all of the people that support us. We love every one of you, and we can't thank you enough. And remember, check out Moose's March, moosesmarch.com, moosesmarch.com. Come check us out. Talk to you guys soon. We'll see you next week. Bye.